Hi everyone and welcome to Revised Chemistry with Mr. B. In this video I'm going to give you some hints and tips of how to get the most marks when you're actually in the exam. Some of this is general advice for exams, but some of it is also specific to Chemistry Paper 1. So all of these tips that I'm going to share with you are what I've gathered over the last 24 years of being a chemistry teacher and also when I used to be a GCSE examiner. So tip number one is as soon as you get in your exam, when you hear those words, you may begin, instead of turning to question one, turn straight to your periodic table and annotate it. So underneath where it says group 1, we write 1 plus because everything in group 1 makes 1 plus ions like Li, Na and K. Group 2 make 2 plus ions. Group 3 make 3 plus ions. And over on the other side, group 0 don't react, they're the noble gases. So group 7 make 1 minus. Group 6 all make 2 minus ions. And group 5 make 3 minus ions. Read each question carefully and make sure you've understood what the question is asking you to do. Allow yourself 1 mark per minute to read and answer the question, so that means a 5-mark question should take you 5 minutes to read and complete the question. Use your scientific knowledge in your answers. It's your chance to show the examiner how much chemistry you know. When you get questions about structure and bonding, when we're talking about structure, make sure we state what type of bonds. Are they ionic bonds, covalent bonds? Are they weak forces, or are they electrostatic forces between positive and negative particles? Where are the bonds? Are they between molecules, between ions, between layers of atoms? So we're being very specific with our choice of words. What type of structure is it? Is it a simple molecule? Is it a giant lattice, for example? And properties means what is the substance like if you had a piece of it in front of you. Is it hard or soft? Does it have a high or low melting point? Does it have a high or low boiling point? And does it conduct electricity? On calculations questions, show every stage of your working out. I cannot stress this enough. If you do that, first of all, you're more likely to get the right answer. And also on a 4-mark calculation question, if you haven't showed you working out and you make a mistake, you'll get 0 marks because your answer will be wrong. If you have showed you working out and you've just made 1 mistake, there's every chance you could get 3 out of those 4 marks still, even though you've ended up at the wrong answer. On graph questions, there's usually 5 marks available, and this is for skills. It's not anything you need to remember from the content. So the first mark is for the axis along the bottom, and you need to make sure you go along in equal numbers. So here I've gone along in 0.1 each time. I've labelled it with what it's showing, mass of magnesium, and I've also put a unit on there, and all of that is for the first mark. The second mark is for doing the same for the y-axis. So this time I've gone up in equal amounts still. In this case I've gone up 0.5 at a time. I've labelled it to say what it shows, the temperature rise, and I've also got a unit, degrees C. So once again we've gone along equal amounts, label and a unit for the second mark. Now the next 2 marks are for plotting the points in the correct place, and the examiners expect you to be able to plot at least 5 points to the nearest tiny square on the graph paper. So do be really careful and put them on with a cross rather than a dot, and it needs to be with a nice sharp pencil so the examiner can see where the middle of that cross is. So spend some time getting those in the right place. And then the final mark out of 5 is for drawing on there a line of best fit. Now just a quick mention of this type of line. If you get a straight line that goes through 0, we can also say that one is directly proportional in that special case. The other lines of best fit we often get in science, as a reminder, are straight line up, straight line down, curve upwards, or curve down. There could be other ones, but these are the most common ones that we always come across. On your exam, you could be asked to describe the method for a practical, for example, one of your required practicals. If you are, then write it step by step that somebody could follow, almost like a recipe. And it's important where you can that you say why you do each step. For example, you might be saying heat a solution in an evaporating dish so that half of the water evaporates. That last part is saying why you've done the step. Mention the equipment along the way. Unless the question specifically asks you to do so, don't write a big equipment list at the start. Mention it along the way. For example, you might say measure out 50 centimeters cubed of hydrochloric acid using our measuring cylinder, and then you're getting the equipment into your method. Be specific about quantities. Try not to use the word amount. If we're talking about liquids, then it would be a volume. If we're talking about solids, usually it's the mass of a solid. So sensible amounts would be 50 centimeters cubed, anywhere up to 100 really, because that's what a measuring cylinder measures. And sensible quantities of a powder that you might be using or a solid would be 1, 2, 3 grams, for example. At the end, don't forget to mention your variables. So the independent variable is the one that you've changed. The dependent variable is the one that you've been measuring and writing down in your results table. And don't forget also to mention your control variables that you've kept the same in order to make it a fair test. So if you've liked this video, please remember to like and subscribe using the buttons below. And thank you for watching.